Welcome back. So let's give a big round of applause for our first competitor starting off the day here at US Barista Championships, Elisabeth.
Hey.
They are representing Dayglow out of Los Angeles, California. Let's also give a big round of applause for our judges if they could make their way down to the competition area. All right.
Hey. Good to see you all. Hey. Hi. All right. This is going to be fun. Can I get my music, please? Can you restart it? Cool. Time. Specialty coffee is a culmination of trust, and it's built through many interactions with our customers where we get them to trust us by sharing these beautiful experiences with them. Before we get started today, I'd like you to look at the cards on your left and think about the word trust. Just write what comes to mind. These are just for me, so I can get to know you better. Please take a moment of intentional reflection to write these down while I get started grinding your coffees. All right, judges, if you could hand me your cards, I'd like to share with you a story about trust. And by the end of our time together, I hope we'll establish our own intentional trust. Our story begins where my coffee was born in Panama. It comes from Volcan at Finca Debra. Last year, I accidentally got stuck in Panama because I missed a connecting flight. I was traveling alone and nervous to navigate Panama, but fortunately for me, through a mutual friend, I got set up with two people I'd never met to show me around. I was apprehensive, but fortunately for me, because I decided to place my trust in these two strangers, ultimately I got to experience coffee in a way I never had before. They eagerly showed me some of the beautiful sights of Panama City, like the enormous flowered archway of Casco Viejo, and they took me to a coffee shop called Unido. It wasn't until I saw the menu that it dawned on me, because on the menu was a geisha. That's when it hit me. I'm in Panama. That's a Panama geisha, and I get to experience it here in the country that made geisha so famous. Because of a little well-placed trust, I was able to have this mind-blowing coffee experience that connected me with Panama, just like our coffee today. This beautiful geisha from Finca Debra. Now I'm just chilling these espressos for our signature course while I get started on your espresso course. Now, unlike my unexpectedly wonderful layover, none of these amazing coffees ever really happen by accident, even if it seems serendipitous by the time that we drink them. A lot of trust is placed in producers to maintain the integrity of these coffees while testing innovative methods to push coffee further. The processing method used is symbiosis, which is the producer Jameson Savage's unique take on a natural anaerobic. The whole cherries are placed in sealed tanks and temperature controlled for 100 hours. Now, 100 hours may seem like a lot, but you have to trust Jameson and his intentionality with his processing. Jameson employs old world winemaking techniques to control the rate of fermentation for optimal balance. When I hand you your espressos, please observe the crema, but wait to taste. The classic geisha profile of florals, stone fruit, and citrus is amplified by complex and juicy vibrancy, which you'll experience in the cup as floral aromatics like cherry blossom, stone fruit like peach and red cherry, and orange. The body is light to medium and creamy and kind of fuzzy like a peach. It has a pleasantly dry finish like cacao nib. To ensure the optimal drinking temperature for your espressos today, I'm using a laser thermometer. What I'd like you to do is take your spoons and stir until those espressos reach 50 degrees. You can start. You'll notice as you begin to stir, the temperature will briefly increase. That's just because the laser is sensing deeper into the cup. So periodically remove your spoon just to check the temperature. And you can set your spoons on the napkins to the right. You may enjoy. Thank you. Today, I set out to give you a truly exceptional milk experience. To do that, I had to balance my coffee and milk. So I started with a gallon of whole milk, which I reduced by 50% through freeze distillation. Now, throughout the history of barista competition, freeze distillation has been done with little context. So to have a further understanding of what's occurring, I took my milk to a lab where a dairy expert named Carl Hollifield put my milk through essentially a milk refractometer. He was able to tell me that I increased the fat from 3.25 to 5%, which is where you get that amazing creamy texture and mouthfeel. I also increased the lactose from 5.56 to 8.26%, balancing that acidity and giving us sweetness where we get the flavor of bourbon cherries. Oops, we got that one right. We also get the flavor of toffee with that sweetness. Also increase the mineral salts from 0.7 to 1%, giving us the flavor of salted caramel. Again, those flavors are going to be bourbon cherries, toffee, and salted caramel. Enjoy.
Let's give a big round of applause.
All right, judges. Now I've given you context for trust with Jameson and with Carl, and now I'm asking you to trust me with our signature drink. I was inspired by Jameson's knowledge of the wine industry that influenced his processing. And I also knew a coffee this clean and sweet would be the perfect base to make a coffee take on a red wine. My challenge was to find counterpoints with the coffee to create something completely new, but with an intentional result. I'm starting by adding 3.5 grams of red wine vinegar to our chilled Gesha espresso to highlight that acidity, which will give us the flavor of pomegranate. I'm also adding 20 grams of blackberry puree that I made by blending blackberries and straining them. This will highlight that acidity, transforming the stone fruit flavors you experience in the espresso to deep red fruit flavors in the signature drink of pomegranate. I'm also adding 10 grams of a 2-to-1 dark brown sugar simple syrup to give more depth to the body of the espresso and sweetness that balances that acidity, where you find the flavor 70% dark chocolate. I'm also adding for the body 40 grams of a separated chia gel that I made by soaking 10 grams of chia seeds in 300 grams of water and straining them. Chia seeds have high fat and protein structures, which provide gelling, which gives us a slight viscosity to the beverage. This fat, protein-rich substrate gives us substance to hold up the flavor components of the drink. Lastly, I'm infusing the drink with cherrywood smoke. Cherrywood has a slightly sweet and smoky aromatic and flavor. The tool that I'm using will infuse the drink from the top down, providing an aromatic but also integrating the flavors of the drink, further balancing it. When I hand you your drinks, please wait until I call time to evaluate. For your drinking instructions, first, I'd like you to hold it up to your face and blow gently like you're blowing out a candle. This will dissipate some of that smoke. The first sip will be quite smoky, but the second and third will be more balanced and wine-like, similar to a Barolo or a bourbon barrel-aged Cabernet. With a hint of that barrel char. Again, those flavors are raspberry, pomegranate, 70% chocolate, and a hint of that barrel char. All right, I'm serving it chilled, cool but not cold, in keeping with how one would experience a nice red wine. By nature, this industry requires placing intentional trust. In order to push coffee forward, we trust that producers, our community, and our colleagues have the same intentions that we do. And this well-placed trust allows us to create experiences that allow me, your barista, to share with you the product of all of this cumulative trust. Thank you so much for your time.
Let's give a big round of applause for Elisabeth Johnson and her routine here. If you would like to step right on over here with me. Come on over. So, big round of applause for such a lovely routine.
Thank you.
Would you like to give some thanks to some people that helped you out
Yeah.
along the way, of course?
There's so many people to thank. Of course, Glittercat, Veronica, and Eric have been absolutely incomparable in terms of just the support they've given me from being a Glittercat to now. Kyle, Black and White, thank you so much for your support, both as a friend and as a dope coach. It's been a very incredible year. I'm just feeling very thankful to have experienced it. Also, Dayglow, of course, shout out to the homies for helping support me and get me here. Yeah.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Well, let's give one more big round of applause to Elisabeth for their lovely routine. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. You did so well.
Thanks.
I'm sure you want to unwind, so please feel free. All right, we're going to keep things going. I'm going to introduce our next competitor, Brian Overstreet from the Coffee Movement in San Francisco, California. So if I could have our next round of judges please come up, and we'll be getting things going shortly here at the U.S. Barista Championships.
It's not just the pride that you have in doing something that you really passionate about, is if other people are able to see it the way that you see it. What we're trying to do is to engage in that